Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. I'm excited to bring you a follow-up case 12 years later where we're going to talk to Cameron Coker. Cameron was the subject of a First 48 television show. That's the old show, A&E show that tried to solve murders within the first 48 of them happening. Cameron was 18 at the time. This was 2008. He was misidentified as murdering a young man by the name of Eric, who we, again, give our condolences to the families on. But Cameron had to spend 3 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. He got out of prison in 2008. He got out of prison in 2012. He went in 2008, got out in 2012. I was his lawyer, and I have kept up with Cameron like I do with a lot of my clients. I have kept up with him. I've watched him grow into a young man, and I'm very proud of him. So, Cameron, thank you for agreeing to come to be on the show.
Yay. I'm happy.
You're happy?
Yes,
You're happy?
yes.
And I have my faithful co-host, Mr. Danny Sneed. Oh, Lord. Mr. Cool, the encourager. So I would love for you to watch the old episode on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you put in my name, Vivian King, and you put in Cameron Coker, it'll come up. Vivian King, Cameron Coker. C-O-K-E-R, kind of like the drink with the R at the end. And that, we filmed that April the 11th, 2012. Well, March the 11th, 2010 is when the episode of First 48 aired. But I want to get right into it and find out what Cameron was doing. The significance is after he got out of prison in 2012, A&E continued to run this story, which gave him a lot of bad publicity. Like, people are thinking he's a menace to society, he's done some bad things in the community, and he was exonerated from this crime. So, Cameron, tell me, what's been going on, Cameron?
Well, life has been good. Life has been good. First and foremost, I want to give the glory to God. God has been there tremendously for me. I've been in a church for 4 years now. Okay. I'm 33. The church that I go to is a Space City Church. So it's a real good family church. If you ever want to come to service, you can just come through. But life has been good, Ms. King. I've now obtained my barber's license. I've been cutting hair for 6 years.
And let me tell you what's significant about him getting his barber's license. When he got out of prison, we had him over here in the first 24 hours of getting out of jail, which was March. Wasn't it March or April?
It was April.
April 11th, 2012. We got him out of jail, and he was 21. He'd been in jail, had to drop out of school because he was a student when he went to jail at 18, and he said he wanted to be a barber. So the fact that you got your barber's license and you've done that for the last 6 years, I'm very proud of you.
Right. So I had to get my barber's license because no one would give me a job when I got out. It was getting really hard, to make it, to survive. I would get a job here and then it wouldn't be long jobs. So that's what made me was like, let me go and apply myself so I can have my own business and know what it feels like to work for myself. Okay. Also on that journey of cutting hair, I've been cutting hair for 6 years now. I've done a lot of charities for the community of Houston, a lot of events, going out, giving out free haircuts, food drives,
So what's inspiring you to want to do free haircuts?
Well, it's just the thing from, as life do good to you, and you see that you're doing good, it's okay to just go and do something for someone else or some other people, because that's what God wants. That's what he wants us to do for other people, and not think about us all the time. In today's time, so many people have become selfish. They're worried about themselves and how can they help themselves instead of saying, let me sacrifice. So on my way of making that sacrifice, I gained a lot of, at the church, we was gonna put a barbershop inside the church. The pastor we was all with it. He's still with it. If I tell him, hey, let's go, the pastor, let's put a barbershop in there so we can serve God. And that's just what I'm doing now. I'm not here to dwell on the past of I went there and I did that time. And I'm here now with you.
Well, let's stop right there. So tell us, let's go back to the mindset of an 18-year-old when you went to prison. Tell me about how it felt to stay in jail for 3 years, knowing that you could go face jail for the rest of your life for a crime you didn't commit. And I know you were out in them streets when you were a teenager, but you didn't do that crime. So tell me how that felt. Do you remember how it felt to be there?
Yes, it's a feeling that you can never forget. Even to this day, I still wake up and think about it. Just being in that environment around those people that actually did things. It's a place where no teenager should have to go through. Because you're gonna lose all your years of life. So,
and back then, when you get charged with murder, because I know bonds are a big issue now in 2024, but the standard bond for murder back then was $50,000. So that 3 years you stayed in jail waiting for your trial or whatever's going to happen was a $50,000 bond. Could your family make it? I know you had a mother that was a single mother of 4 kids. Mm-hmm. And she couldn't make that $50,000 bond, could she?
No, she couldn't make it. And then we didn't have any,
collateral.
Collateral to put up. And then I wasn't going to put my mom through that because I didn't do it. I just thought one day, one of those DAs would get up off of, their behind and say, man, you know what, this kid really didn't do this, But it took.
And just think of how it is. This young man is in jail. Everybody's saying you did it. It was filmed on First 48, and people are telling you from the outside they saw this episode because they showed the episode in 2010, and he's never seen it, because he's arrested in the First 48. So tell me how that felt to know that people are telling you did something that you've never even seen the episode to even defend yourself.
It feels, like everybody's against you. Everybody's against you, and the only thing you can call on is God. You got to be able to hold yourself together because if you let what everybody else say, then your mind starts to, dwell like them and start to think like them. So it hurt me, it hurt me, but I had to stay strong because of where I was at. I didn't have a dad growing up, and I had a mom who's really strong and she's been here and she's still here to this day. And not that I hold nothing against them, but I had to go out and, survive. Sometimes you're gonna need that person to talk to. Hey, Dad. Hey, Pops. Is this right? Am I doing right? And I didn't have that. But in there, it's just a feeling that it'll never go away.
So tell me about the jail, the court experience at 18 going through this. Tell me about how you felt and your frustrations. And a lot of people while they're in jail, they'll start filing papers themselves, even though they don't know anything about the law. So tell me, did you go through this?
Yes, I did. I had one lawyer for 18 months. She was on my case. She would come up there. She would bring magazines and, just do things that wasn't pertaining to take it serious. And it's a matter like, it wasn't how you came in there. You was confident. You was like, look, tell me this, tell me that, and I'm going to still have your back.
Let's start over. So let's start over with this. So Cameron was in jail. He'd been in jail for 18 months. His lawyer, he had a court-appointed lawyer. His lawyer had a new assignment. So she had to get off the case. I was appointed to his case 18 months in. And it was real tragic in that the first lawyer had an investigator that investigated his alibi, which is his reason to try to prove that he did not do this and he was somewhere else. But that investigator was ill. If you look at the first episode, which is on YouTube, you'll see that we were frustrated, me and my investigator, trying to get it because it's court appointed. So the state of Texas is not going to pay for a new investigator to investigate something that another investigator has already investigated. But we can't get in touch with the first investigator because he unfortunately had cancer. So he was ill. So we waited for him to get well. But eventually we just had to try to reinvestigate it. And Cameron had told us, look, I had just gotten out of jail on some traffic tickets, so we ought to be able to find some video of me getting out of jail. And because I was 18, I wanted to go sleep with my girlfriend, and I couldn't do that in my mama's house. So, and I wasn't old enough and didn't have the ID to try to get a motel. So I had to go to a motel with my girlfriend and get an older guy to rent the room for me for the night. So we had to try to get video of all this and talk to the guy who rented the room and to try to have his alibi. But the problem is there was still time in between, like about 12 hours, that he could have been where they said he was. But we still needed to try to track down actually where he was. So that was an issue. That was a real issue for us. So tell me how that felt when we were waiting on you.
Well, you know, during that 18 months of dealing with my first attorney, they was offering me like 60 years. So you know, I'm going back down here, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of time, you know, to tell somebody at 18, yeah, we're gonna give you 60, it wasn't the fact that I was scared. It was like I was unknown what was gonna happen.
Right.
In the future, of like if they really were gonna do this to me, like, you know, I didn't have nothing to fight with, you know, so I just kept praying. I prayed. I ended up writing a state bar, and when I wrote them, when I went to court, she was off my case, and I met you, Miss Vivian King, and it was just up from that day forward. It was just.
So how'd you feel about meeting me? Your real feelings, not because you're on TV and you're talking to me.
My real feelings, I was so, you know, in shock that they would even take her off my case and send someone to me. So it was like, now someone here is really gonna help me, you know, and I didn't know how long it was gonna take, but I was just amazed. I was just happy to meet someone who was so confident in their work and helping me, you know, and it was just a great feeling, you know.
Well, you still had a year and a half with me, so it still took another 18 months. So why did you feel confident?
I mean, because you were doing your job more than what she was doing. You were communicating.
Well, I don't want you to compare me to her. Just tell me how you felt with you.
Well,
I mean, me and you or your family or whatever.
Well, like I say, the feelings that I had for you were, it was love. It was just there, you know. It was like, I know Miss King's gonna help me. I know she's gonna help me. I know she's not gonna leave me out like this, you know, for something that I didn't do, you know. And then, you know, just going through the journey of which, you know, you keeping in touch with my family, and then you let me know, Cameron, it's gonna be all right, you know. And then it was just like that day when you.
Well, you know, people don't trust court-appointed lawyers.
Right.
I was court-appointed. The judge asked me to take your case.
Right.
I wasn't taking cases like yours at the time. I was doing capitals, but yours wasn't capital. It was just straight murder, so I wasn't doing that. So the judge of the court, Judge Hazel Jones, said, will you take this young man's case? The other lawyer has another assignment. She has to get off the case, so will you take it? So I did, as a favor to the court, and I didn't know. I mean, we still took 18 more months, so why were you confident then?
I mean, it wasn't that I confident that when you got on my case for the first 18 months. It was really in the mid, whenever I started going to court. I think you gave me one offer.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't even remember if you even gave me it. I don't even remember.
Well, this is the way I usually approach things. If my client says he didn't do it, then I'm not dealing with offers. You know, you're going to have to man up and go to trial. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't do it, I had a reputation of not pleading people guilty if they said they weren't guilty. So we're going to try to find, you know, we worked really hard to try to get your alibi together. And eventually I had a great investigator, Sonia Rafit, and Sonia went and got, I don't know where she got those tapes from, because usually they roll over the tapes, you know, after a certain amount of time. But somehow, I don't know if she went to the dying man's house and got him. I don't know where she got the hotel tapes.
I think it was the evidence that I had told them, the lawyer at first. It was the.
You think they had it?
Yeah, because I told them where to go to. I remember where I was.
But the lawyer you had before sent the investigator. See, that's the issue. The lawyer didn't do it. The investigator.
The investigator, he was sick.
Cancer, he was sick. So I'm just saying, I think Sonia must have finally just gone to his house and gotten it from his family or something like that, because he died during that time. So, yeah, so that was one of the big delays. And I was dealing with a prosecutor that would not let me see the file. That was another issue. But Danny, let me throw you in here. Do you have, I know you watched the old episode last night. Do you have any questions about where we are in the story right now?
Well, it was very. I when I listen to the story, of course, I'm formerly incarcerated, and I think about when we're in the county waiting for the criminal justice system to work for us, and when you got a court-appointed attorney, no, the consensus is you don't have someone that's really vested in getting you out. It's just someone that state appointed you. And everybody's saying, you need to get a lawyer. Well, I got a lawyer. Man, them court appointed attorney lawyers, and it's just how we think when we're on the inside, that they don't pay you guys enough. They're forcing you to take my case, or you're going to really fight for me. But as I shared with you earlier, I've had some good court appointed attorneys, and I believe they were God sends. And you alluded to that, like, man, God sent me an attorney, and I got the right attorney, and I believe that's what happened to you. It was just God, you were a godsend. And you still are a godsend because you continue to do the work, and you still are doing the work. How long have this happened 11 years ago?
12.
12.
12 years
Well,
ago.
no, it happened 15 years ago.
Right. He'd been out of jail 12 years.
But you're still doing the same thing. You're willing to take on helping people, regardless if there's a monetary outcome to
Right.
help people.
Right. Back then, they didn't pay us much on these court-appointed cases. So me talking to his mother, talking to his sister a lot, Jessica talking to them, I wasn't getting paid to do that. And I had a lot of clients at the time, but I cared about all of my clients, as you know. You used to work for me, you know that. And not in your day, but later on, when I got older and tireder, he was 15 years in prison. He was my paralegal. So he would go to the jail with me on Sundays after church. We go to the same church. And he would visit youthful guys like you who didn't have fathers. But they were capital murder guys. They weren't murder guys like you. And we did that for several years. And a lot of them they totally look forward to seeing you. Totally looks forward to seeing Danny. Because at some point, when you're in jail, you're lonely. And your lawyer, once you tell us one time the story, you want to keep talking to us, but we already got it. We took notes, we got it. We don't need to talk to you anymore. We just need to try to prove what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But you want some companionship. You want somebody to talk to. So I finally, broke down and said, Danny can kind of be this father figure for them and talk to them about, because some people did do it. And you just need to try to get the best deal. Stop playing with the system, because if you keep playing with the system, you're going to get life.
Yeah.
And so Danny was able to maybe talk that language to them, and that's what he was really good at. A lot of them really, really looked forward to talking to you. I remember that one little young man, the little light-skinned guy from that had been caught in Colorado. He was in love with you.
And another thing is, based on that we share of being inside, is what does it do to us? Like, this is a bad experience, being in jail and prison. It's horrible. But there's it's not a salutation, but a affirmation. What doesn't kill you does what? Makes you
stronger.
Stronger. So when I look at your story, and I knew we were going to be meeting for the first time, I was looking at, okay, this happened during this time. Did it destroy you, or did it build you? And it's obvious, if you're here today, that it built you. As bad as that was, that whole situation, it transformed your life. And as I was looking at this show, I was thinking, if that wouldn't have happened in his life, as bad as it was, the path you was on, could you have been, instead of someone accused of doing something, being a victim of something happened to you? And then you told me, shared with me, that you experienced violence towards you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That was after that, right?
Right after.
Right.
Was it because of other stuff you were doing in the street, or from that case?
Well, no, it's not. It had nothing to do with the streets. I left the streets alone 12 years ago.
Okay.
But
you went back to jail, though, then?
Well, because of the girl.
Oh, yeah,
you know how girls get whenever they get mad. Hey, look, I can't deal with you no more. We can't do this no more. It ain't working out.
Yeah. You told me.
And then some of them is like, if I can't have you, can't nobody have you.
Oh, yeah.
And like I say,
Put it on them right, I do. I was young once.
And what it is,
Little rocks, hard hands.
I had got shot. I've been shot twice.
Didn't she shoot you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot your girlfriend shot you.
Yeah, and another dude shot me too in my leg,
What did he shoot you for?
I have a fight broke out, and
You used to like to fight when you were young. Did you keep fighting?
I'm fighting for is now I figured I'll fight for God.
I'm talking about then. We're talking about them 12 years
Oh,
before you
well,
got here. I know
well,
you're on the right. You're totally on the right path now. But I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, well you know
Because you used to like to fight. You said, Miss King, I remember when I first met you in jail, you're like, Miss King, I didn't kill this guy. He said, look, I might do some wrong stuff out in these streets. I might have sold a little dope.
But
I
I'ma
might sell a
fight.
little dope. He said, but I fight. He said,
'Cause
if I
that's-
have a disagreement with somebody, I don't play with guns. I fight. I said, okay, baby, just as long as you're telling me the truth,
That's what-
I will find out what happened. I will find the killer.
And that's what the streets taught us. You don't always got to revert to a gun.
What these
you
kids
know?
do now.
Because that's what they you know, it's cool to have a gun on the side of your hip because the rappers and this is what they looking up to.
Right.
So they feel like, you know, like people got to understand guns don't kill people. People kill people.
That's true.
So when you out and you with your people and you having a good time, you know, it's still rules you got to follow to have that gun and they don't read that.
Right.
Everything comes with instructions and a manuscript and you got to follow it. Even when you working on a car, you cutting somebody hair, you know, it's rules and regulations that if you don't follow it, it's something. So everybody think it's cool now to have a gun on the side of their hip or, yeah, I got it. That ain't what we was taught. You know, when we was taught, man, if you got something to get somebody, go to them one-on-one and you can fight about it. After that, turn around and walk away. You know, leave it alone, leave it where it's at. But now, it come bigger than that. Now you got to turn that, when God said turn that other cheek, that really applies. Because, okay, you can hit me. If I hit you back, you gonna call the laws on me and I'm gonna go to jail. So hold on. You hit me, I'm gonna call the laws and make them come over here and do their job and I ain't gonna go to jail. That's just how it gotta be. I file my taxes, I pay you taxes, so you work for me. I don't need to react. Every reaction don't need a reaction, you know, so I've been hit, a lot of, shot, beat
Twice.
up, jumped on, but you got to keep going. You know, if you react to that or respond to that, it's consequences behind it. You know, somebody might have a gun on them. Somebody might have a knife on them, and they might feel like, hey, man, I just had me a drink, and I'm going through with my wife, and they finna just take it out on you.
Right.
It might be that person. And also, another thing, Miss King, I went to therapy.
Good.
He beat me
Good.
to
Good.
before he
He
said
sounded
it.
like he went to
No,
therapy.
you know, I picked up on the cues. I said, wait a minute. I know wisdom comes with getting older,
But not
some
this
of the,
much.
Some of the
Yeah.
things you had to have been exposed to some life skills. To,
Wow, so who got you to go to therapy?
Well, I said I wanted to.
Wow.
I had been shot. I didn't want to be mad at nobody because it's like, okay, you ain't know why what people don't know what they do and why they do it. Some people just do it. They react out of fear. So I'm like, man, you know what? I'm not gonna be like everybody else and sit up here and hold a grudge against somebody. I'm gonna be better and be different.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't gonna make you no better by sitting there talking about what somebody else did to you, trying to take it out on them, and like you just making yourself a better person inside. So I was like, man, you know, let me go through the therapy.
How did you find the therapist?
I
since
went
you don't
through
have money?
Harris Health Center.
Harris Health,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I got a little money, Miss King. I just.
Well, I'm just
I
thinking
know-
about the fact that you couldn't make bond at the
Oh,
time
yeah.
and you couldn't afford a lawyer. So that's all I'm talking
yeah.
about. I'm not talking about now. I know you're working 2 jobs now, as a mechanic and as a barber.
Yep.
And I'm proud of you.
And a
for it.
full-time dad whenever I get
And a full-time dad when you can get your baby.
Yeah.
I know, get your daughter. Okay, I know. You can get her. Get her when you can.
But yeah, I went to therapy and it really helps, you know. You have to be able to sit there and take it serious, you know. Therapy's nothing to play with, you know.
How long did you go for?
I think I did a year.
Yeah, you need to go for at least a year.
A
That's a
year,
long
or
commitment.
maybe I went through the Harris Health Center because that's who all my doctors are with now. But it really helped, you know, talking to that therapist, you know, when you talk to someone like that you know everything's gonna be all right. You know, it's everything is confidential. They're not gonna be the one, like, you don't gotta worry about nobody going back and talking behind your back, you know. That's what you pay them for. So, you know, being shot twice, you know, you gonna
Now, what time period was it? Like, how soon after you got out of jail in 2012 did you get shot?
What, let's say 11 years, 10 years?
Oh, you just got shot?
I just got shot.
Both times? Did you
Both
get shot
times.
the same day?
In the same year. In the
same
same
year.
year.
Really?
Same year, 6 months apart.
Really? So who shot you first? The
girl,
girlfriend?
yeah, the girlfriend shot me first.
Did she go to jail for that?
I don't even think so. I don't even think they did nothing about it. Like, it was just like,
Okay.
they just,
Put a Band-Aid on it and keep moving?
yeah, I ain't never, man, if there was a dude, you would have been gone so fast, you would have never got out again. Like, but it's okay because God has control.
Is she the mother of your child?
Yes, she is.
Oh my God.
And yeah, and like I say, God has control. So if she feel like she did something good, hey, okay, that's what you feel like. But me, I'm gonna continue to be a better person because
So I see it's difficult then to see your daughter. How old is your daughter?
she's 6. She turned 6
Does she
this
let
year.
you see her?
I do everything with through my mom.
Okay,
I do all the visitation, everything through my mom
That's
because I don't want her thinking.
Right. It's just supervised visits with your mom. That's cool.
Right, and that's just where I keep it at, you know.
That's good.
Yeah, as a part of maturing in life, you know, you can sit there and talk about what somebody did to you, or you can become that better person and be like, I ain't gonna do that to people.
Right. And move on and be happy.
Move
do
on
your
and be
job, do your work, and don't have a grudge, because a grudge will just hold you down.
Right.
Make you angry for no reason.
Right.
And then the other shooting was from what? How did you get
The
shot?
other shooting was from I was at out at an event with some friends, and we hanging out, and it was a club called it was a club. It opened up at like 8 and it closed at 2. It's a known club in 3rd Ward, and I was out with some guys, and you know this one
was it
guy.
on Emancipation?
Yeah, I think it's on Emancipation.
Spot?
Spivey, something like that's what it's called.
Oh, Spivey is on the side of the spot.
Yeah, that's where. So I'm out with this one dude. I met him while I was incarcerated. He was a good guy, you know. He do the rapping, and he know all the, you know, rappers in Houston. He was a cool guy, and I'm out with these guys, and I'm thinking they're my friends. And when, you know, one thing led to another. When I walked in the establishment, I was by myself. I was meeting them there. So I was kind of sketchy about it anyway, you know. So I think it was my second time there, but the first time I was there, I probably was there for like 10 minutes maybe. So while we're out, you know, I think it was about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And we get there, I get there first. When I got there, I think I had got me a drink, and I got me something to eat. So I ate, you know, and I started seeing, you know, guys come in, and the guys that I was supposed to be hanging with. And next thing you know, some money goes up in the air, and we're all in the section, and then some other guys over here in the section, and some money goes up in the air, and next thing you know, a fight breaks out. Boom, boom, it's a whole bunch of guys. So I'm standing there looking, I'm like, oh,
Wow.
I done matured in life. I ain't finna even do nothing like that no more. They don't even look right. So, and that one thing led to another. This guy, he's already under the influence, you know. It's several guys there. It was multiple people got shot. It was several guys there. This guy just all of a gets angry and goes around, start punching people. When he got to me, all I know is my antennas went up, and I weave, and I swung back, and he went to the ground. And I used my leg, and I kicked him. That's just reflexes.
Reaction,
yeah. And I walked outside, and I seen guys running back in with their guns. So I'm like, man, what? This, you know, you're not thinking like it was just nothing, and it turned into something. And I opened up the door, and I stepped inside the establishment, and
Bam.
there it goes. I'm talking about my eyes opened up. The only thing I could call on was God. I say, God, save me one more time.
Doggone it.
And he came
Why
through.
didn't you stay out of that club once you went in there, out of there?
Because, I mean, I'm running back. I'm looking for my friends.
But you didn't come with them.
But I didn't. But it's like, you know, you don't leave nobody behind, but they all left me. You know, they done went their ways, and some of them say that this happened, and I didn't believe. I'm like, man, you probably shot yourself, dude. I don't believe nothing. So,
Did anybody else get shot besides you?
yeah, it was like 4 or 5 guys, they got shot. And but everybody was so scared that none of them went and took care of their business because they so street. That's all these dudes know out here.
Did y'all go to the hospital?
Oh, I went to the hospital. See, they went to Ben Tall. I drove to Memorial Herman on a flat tire. Drove to Memorial Herman. When I get there, the cops had came up in there.
Right.
Cause I had told them, I just this,
shot.
yeah, I got shot. So they came in there. So they was like, yeah, we got some more, some more victims over here at Ben Taub. And then I think they was trying to talk to me. I really don't remember because they shot me up with some, with some good stuff.
Some good stuff. Huh? You didn't know. Plus, you don't know who shot you, do you?
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, you know.
I got a picture and everything because I believe I had went to jail because I think if I'm not mistaken, the baby mama, the girlfriend tried the thing with me and it was just a bunch of mess and I had went back for that and then they ended up letting it go. And but I when I got out, I had to, it was.
Did you tell the police who did it?
Oh yeah, they had a picture, they had everything, they had
But they didn't arrest him?
I see. Nope, they ain't. The investigator came and talked to me, talking about he had a red truck, and they ain't seen him and heard from him no more.
I got a question. Do you still go to clubs and those environments where
I
people gather up and anything can pop off at any minute?
I try my best not to. Now, if I got some friends where I know it's gonna be laid back, and it's cool, yes, because that was just a lesson learned. It wasn't a mistake. People get shot everywhere. You could be at the grocery store.
Right.
You could be at the bank. So I'm not gonna let one situation build fear in me. I'm just gonna, guess what? You can't do your job, I'm gonna do it for you, because guess what? The streets talk. People talk. Jail talk.
Hey, we got a call waiting. Caller, you're on. Talk to me. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, come on in, Jessica.
Yes,
I know that voice.
Jessica.
Hey, Jessica, I know your voice.
Yes, this is Jessica Robinson.
What's your comment?
Yes, ma'am.
What you want to say, Jessica?
I just want to say how proud I am of Cam and his accomplishments through it all. That 12 years ago, just coming through from everything he had been through, and still to this day, just not trying but making a change out here in the community, in his own life and his family's life. And I want to pick up from where Danny left off, just saying how you were God sent, and how basically we did. I know I did. I prayed for Miss King when I seen that she was actually fighting for the innocence of people that was going to jail for things that they didn't even do, crimes that they didn't commit. I also don't want to leave out Miss Sonia Rassett. That was also wonderful private investigator on Cameron Coker's case.
Yep, she's my investigator.
Yes.
Sonia's the best. We've won a lot of cases together.
Yeah, she's amazing. And I also want to also say rest in peace to Eric, and we still praying for his family as well for justice.
Right. Justice for Eric. Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
All right, we love you. We love you, Jessica. Sorry you couldn't be here tonight, but you keep up the good work. I know it's spring break. You work at a school, and I know you're with your daughter. So thank you for calling in, and thank you. Listen, it's not many sisters that are as devoted as you are. So when Karen was in jail, I talked to Jessica very often. That was over 12 years ago, and I still know her voice. As soon as I heard it, I was like, I know that's Jessica. She's always had that hoarse voice, so I know it. So anyway, all right, enjoy your evening, and have a good evening. Okay, sweet. Love you, doll.
Absolutely. All right, we love you.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, do we have another call, Mark?
I think so.
All right, who's that? Hello?
Hello.
How are you?
I am wonderful, truly blessed. I am Cameron Coker's mom, Victoria Reed.
Hey, Victoria, how are you?
And I'm just blessed that God allowed you to come into our life and put our puzzle back together, put our family back together. Yeah, true, I was a single parent, and I raised my kids to the best of my abilities, and just taught them to do right and be honest with themselves and others. Yeah, they get it. Kids go through things and through their own journey. And Cameron went through some things, but I knew for a fact that, what he had got involved in or been accused of was not him. And I knew that God's plan for Cameron's life would be better than mine and his.
Amen.
And when you
Amen.
came into our life,
And you were always a very devoted mother, prayerful
um,
mother, and Cam and Jessica loved their mother. So you did a
oh
wonderful
my goodness.
job with what you could do. I was a single mother of one, and it was tough. So I don't know how I could have done with four, because
Oh man, just
because it
never
was tough.
giving up,
So
you know.
I'm proud of you too, Miss Victoria, and you stuck by your
Thank you so
son.
much.
You stuck by your son, and we love you.
And I love you too, and I wish you the best in this election.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye bye. All right, Danny, you got something to say?
Yeah, I
Danny
just
always has something to say.
no, I just want to highlight how things change us and put us on a different trajectory.
Sure.
That as hard as it was for my family to see me go to prison 3 times, I told them that they still have a son, you know, and that the fact that I went through that changed me
Right.
because I was exposed to a different way to look at life and to think different by force.
Right.
Maybe if I wouldn't have went through that, I don't know what life would have, how it would have turned out. But my way of thinking wouldn't have changed. My morals, my values wouldn't have changed if it weren't for prison. So now I see things through a different perspective. Places that I used to think I would love to want to be, environments used to want to be in. Because I think my thing was acceptance and attention. I needed to be where everything was going on. I didn't like being isolated away from. Like if they doing something over there, I need to be involved in that. I didn't know how to stand alone and carve my own path out. I feel like to be accepted, I need to be a part of a group. Where when I walk in the room, people are like, hey, Danny. I felt that I needed to be somewhere where if I pull up under the tree, club, I need to be in environments where I was recognized and validated through this group. But the thing about the group that I wanted to be validated behind and accepted was the wrong group to want to have the respect and validation from, because their principles and morals and how they seen life was nowhere in line with spiritual and moral values. But I didn't care about that. So it was tough for me to break away from the need to be accepted from the streets and validated from the streets, that street cred. Not from being a tough guy, but to being able to go in the streets without the fear of being in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like I want to be able to go down where the roughest people is with no fear.
You can.
But what I realized is it was a whole other world going on where people were living that didn't even have nothing to do with the streets.
Right.
And
And that's the world you're in now.
So I didn't know there was a group of people over here that didn't care nothing about street creds and hood and who got the most money, who had sold the most dope. I didn't know there was another group of people cared nothing about who had the most money, who had the biggest watch. They didn't care about that. They cared about moral things, giving back to the community. They cared about their relationship with God. Not to say they were trying to save anybody who was preachers or ministers. They just had a better understand of what my mother and my father and my grandparents had. They had values. I didn't want that life. But going to prison 3 times, my back was against the wall, and I had to make a decision. I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison, going back and forth. Going in first time at 28. Last time I came out, shoot, I was in my 40s, and I'm thinking to myself, this cycle not going to change. I'm going to get out of prison, do good, get caught up, go back. I'm going to get out of prison till I run out of time. And when I go to prison, I'm end up standing in the pill line with a bottom bunk pass, unassigned medical, and just be an old man in prison.
Right.
Vegetable.
Because what it is they don't care. You can't age out of going to prison.
Right.
It's not a cutoff
You
time.
can stay there and die.
Well, the criminal justice system doesn't have a cutoff date to where they'll put you in prison.
Right.
And they have units for people that are so sick that they can't be in regular population. They got old man prison
Dang.
where the unit, everybody on the unit on crutches and carts, but they still in prison. So I realized that there was not a point in life that I could age out the consequences would say, well, you don't go to prison, we're gonna put you over here. And it was tough, Cameron, coming on into the light. But it built relationship with people like Vivian King to where if I walked in the room with Vivian when I first met her, and I had my nice suit and tie on, and we walked into a event, she invited me to one of her holiday parties for lawyers. I never forget it. It was down in Midtown, long time ago, and she invited me. I dressed up. I went in. When I walked in, it's nothing but lawyers and people there. But guess what? Nobody knew my past. I act like I belong there.
Fit right in.
You did
You know what I'm
belong
saying?
there.
Fit right in.
You
I
did
act
belong
like I
there.
belong there. And then I realized that, well, what had happened to me it didn't stop me. That's the second chance that Vivian opened up to me and made me realize, helped my self-esteem, my self-worth. Now, I didn't have the money they had, and I probably didn't pull up with the car they had, but nobody felt as more vicious than I did in that room. And
I made sure you felt comfortable there.
Right.
You did belong there.
But so what she did is, I saw that as a way to work with men and women getting out and saying that it's how we see ourselves, not how the world sees us, that was stopping me. It was hard for me to forgive myself for what I had been through. The world had let it go, but I was still holding on to it. And so the work I see Vivian is doing is so built on giving back to the community. That's why I'm so excited that see her putting herself in a position to sit on the high court, to take her integrity and her care for her community to serve in the biggest way as our next judge.
But I'll never
She
stop.
already the judge.
I think I'll never stop working hard for the community. I've been doing this since 2011. I've never monetized it. It's always been about. In fact, before I got you and Damien, I wouldn't pick Cameron up. I mean, when Cameron was here, and you live way out somewhere, wasn't it? Way Highway
I think
6 or something?
Southwest.
Or was it? I don't even remember.
I remember you talking about it.
I think my mama stayed on the Southwest over there, Bissonnet and Cook. It was right over there. You came over there and picked me.
I came and picked him up. He just got out of jail. I went over there to his mama's house.
You gonna be on my show? You
gonna be on there. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna combat this first 48 story that keeps coming out because you won. They wanted to film a trial thinking you were gonna lose, but and I have to give a moment to say also there was a prosecutor that wouldn't let me see the file, but then we got a really honest prosecutor. The case got reassigned. I know people in the community hate it when DAs move around and get reassigned, but sometimes it's a blessing. Because the prosecutor that you got, she's still at the DA's office. Her name is Samantha Connect. I'll say her name because I didn't have an experience with her back then in 2012. But she said she called me and she said, basically, have you come up with a killer? I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm not telling you who it is. I said, you'll see it in court when we go to trial. The surprise will come. She said, no, you can deal with me honestly because I think it's someone else too. Now, I'm shocked that she is saying that because I had a a-hole of a prosecutor before that wouldn't let me see the file and found out that right after the airing of First 48 in 2010, a man had come forward and said he knew who the killer was. I didn't know that. We went and found who the killer was, found a picture of him. After he killed the guy, he ran off to either Las Vegas.
Allegedly.
Well, I mean, it was what our investigation revealed.
Right.
Doesn't mean it was right, but
That's what they investigations be almost 90%.
Oh, ours was more right than the police
Right.
that put him in jail.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, and we got a picture of him, and he looked just like Cameron. Remember, he was the same
saw it.
height, same color,
Absolutely.
and everything. And so we were
Could
like,
have been cousins.
yeah, it could have been related. So it was real weird. You know, from afar, he would look the same. Their coloring was the same. They didn't look exactly the same, but they had the same height, the same build, same coloring. And so, and I also some of the witnesses that were there had gone to prison by then. So I had to bench warrant them back from TDC. One guy I talked to in prison, he had glasses about this thick on. I'm like, did you have these glasses on that night? And he was like, no, ma'am, I had broken my glasses and my mama hadn't bought me any new glasses. I said, well, how did you say it was Cameron? You got glasses. I wear thick glasses, but I wear contacts. I'm like, your glasses are thicker than mine. And I know I can't see from here to here.
And then you had showed me all their statements they had. You had all their statements on a piece of paper. All of them had said, oh, nah, it wasn't him.
Right. They wasn't sure. They didn't know.
They wasn't sure. They didn't know.
They didn't know. It was horrible. But I said, well, you're gonna have to testify to what you see, and I'm gonna dog you out about having them glasses on tonight today, and you don't have those glasses on. You didn't have those glasses on that night. And he told me, he said, no, Mom, I'll have my mother come up here. I had broken them, and she couldn't afford to buy me some new ones. And so I'd found all the witnesses that were in this gang. Because this was kind of like a gang fight.
I think, yeah.
It was like a Hispanic gang and a black gang. It was like a gang fight. So, we'd gotten all the witnesses together. But anyway, the new prosecutor on it said, well, somebody came forward after seeing First 48 and said, oh, man, that's not the boy who did it. My college roommate, it was a grown man, said, I was at my college roommate's house. Now, this is 30 years past college. And a group of kids came over, his son being one of them, and said, Mr. Broussard, I forgot the guy's name now, Broussard killed somebody. And he does look similar to the guy that they have on First 48. And he told the prosecutors that over a year before that, like in 2010 or 2011. And they knew that. Now, but when Samantha Connect got on the case, she called and told me the truth. And so I said, I'll share my information if I can trust you. She said, okay, and we shared information and we come up with the same second suspect who we believe did it. And that's how his case got dismissed. So we never had to go to trial. I got him out. You know, I could have selfishly gone on to trial just to be on TV because it was going to be filmed. But I was like, no, we're going to get this young man out of school, and he's going to get his barber's license, hopefully GED, because it was kind of too late to go back to school. He was 21.
And I fix cars now, too.
You fix cars. And he loves fixing cars. And one of the things I've always encouraged my clients to do is get a trade, volunteer to paint, volunteer to work on cars, volunteer to do some things and to see what you like. You can volunteer with a plumber for a summer or for an electrician, and then you'll know what kind of trade school to go to if it's something you like. What made you realize you like cars?
Ooh, I was like, well, I really didn't have nothing to do, so I was like, one of my friends, he was like, man, go back to school. And I was like, man, what you think I should go back to school for? He's like, because, you know, anytime I go to school, I'm going to take it serious. He's like, man, I think I go to school for cars. Because I had already been dealing with this dealership playing games like they play games at the dealership, trying to tell you something wrong with your car, and that's not what's wrong with it. I had just paid cash for my car. So I'm already been doing a little mechanic work on the side, fixing my brakes, tires. So I said, you know what, I'm finna really apply myself. Let me go right here, ACC, and apply for automotive technician. I think I went the next morning. I was signed in for the beginning of that semester, and it took me it take a year, but it took me like 11 months to finish the automotive technician program at ACC. And
you sent me your graduation.
Yeah.
And his little cap and gown, I was so proud. I opened my email, I'm like, Cameron is reaching out to me. What is this? You was proud, weren't you?
I was
he
proud.
He was found his lawyer from 12 years ago.
Yeah, I say, oh, Miss King, jump out of that skin when she see this. What?
I hadn't heard from you lately, and all of a sudden I see this beautiful graduation picture. I was so proud of it. I think you had on blue and gold.
Because you always told me, you know, at the end of the day, don't forget about you. If I have kids, it's okay. You know, don't forget about you.
Right.
And that's what people tend to do as life go on, you know. Sometimes your personal life and your business life don't have to, you know, mix. The personal relationships you share with people, they don't have to be in your business, you know. So I was like, man, I can't never forget Miss King, you know. I always
Thank you. And I've never forgotten you. I worked hard for you. Don't forget any of them, but you were a special one because you really didn't do it. I mean, I've had a lot of innocent clients too,
Right.
but I mean, you were young, you were energetic, you had your sister and mother that were very supportive, and I think you had some friends too, because that guy who rented that room for you, I think he came forward and talked to us. I can't remember who it was, but some guy rented that motel room for you.
Yeah.
I think he told us, he talked to Sonia Rafiq.
He did. I don't.
Yeah, you were in jail, so you didn't know that.
I didn't. I know she came up there with that video. I was like, what's
We have a video of him checking into the motel. Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't you, it was your friend
Yeah.
checking in because you weren't old enough. Or you didn't have the ID or money or something. Something you didn't have to check into a motel.
So one of the things I want to highlight, because people, you know, thousands of people watch this show, even probably long after we're gone, someone will still watch the show. I want to highlight the fact that me and you both are formerly incarcerated, but some of the steps we did after incarceration. And one of the biggest things is I sought out to look at what made me think like I think, and that was only through mental health, which we know in our
yes.
culture, in our community,
Yeah.
it's not something that you talk about.
Right.
If you're at the club or you're in the streets, nobody at the basketball court, you're never going to be in an environment in the streets where someone's going to suggest, hey, you know what? You know what I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm going to go seek out some mental health. Or nobody in the streets is going to suggest to someone that's in the struggle with anger issues, you know what I'm saying? Say, bro, you know what I think you should do? I think you should go seek out some mental health because you tend to get angry real fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can be having a good time. Somebody say something to you, you ready to fight. I think you should go. So you're not going to get that.
Right.
And so I want to highlight the fact that going through the bad process of being incarcerated, someone along the way suggested, why don't you go seek some help, Danny? Instead of trying to get out of this situation and go back and start over, look at how some other factors that lead you up into getting in these situations. Yeah, there's going to always be somebody else you can say, he did that, she did that, but start focusing on what you were doing before that situation led up, what environment you in, what your values was. I heard you say something about God. What it was hard for me to do, Cameron, it was hard for me to let go of my love for the streets and the environment. That was my love. Like, man, that's my baby right there. And then have God over here and saying, man, I can't really figure out how to balance the two of y'all. I'm gonna either love one or hate the other. I can't love both of y'all because you can't serve two masters.
Right.
I can't be in the streets.
Yeah, but
Let me
But how?
finish.
Yeah. Hold on.
Finish.
Hold on.
Because the point is, it's not directed at you.
Yeah.
It's directed at people that struggle with dealing with living in this lifestyle, desire to get out the lifestyle, and then realize it's not a balance between the two. It's a choice. It's either left or right. It ain't no middle ground. At least for me, the struggle was I had to make a decision.
Right.
I can't do both of them.
You tried
I tried.
over and over again. You kept going back to jail.
But it just, things happen. And they weren't always my fault.
Right.
But once I decided to make a decision that I'm just going to walk over here, as uncomfortable as it is being around the Vivian environment, I'm going to hang
My
around.
environment is uncomfortable.
Right, because
he's
it's
not
the
used to
streets.
it. He's not
the streets.
He's not used to that type. Like y'all put his antennas up. Like, man, hold on, this.
Well, the environment is different. The language is different. The people behavior is different. See, I didn't know in society, people party and have a good time different than they do in the streets. See, you go in your environment, you're not going to smell weed. You know what I'm saying? You're just not going to smell weed. You're not going to hear loud music. Nobody's going to be sagging. Nobody's going to be banging. Nobody's going to be, you know what I'm saying?
Ready to fight.
You know, nobody's on edge. You not have to worry about something going to pop off at any minute because these people live on a whole different way of thinking. They got things to lose. They understand consequences. They have values, principles, morals. I ain't saying they Christians. They just have values, and they know there's consequences to their actions when they go out
Right.
in
And they
public.
want to enjoy their lives. They don't have that effort moment where they just will
Well,
do
just
risky
pop
things,
out.
risky
And
behavior.
so what was hard for me to realize is I can't blend these two worlds together. I can't tell people I've changed my life, I love God, I want to do what's right, but the people I hang around don't think like me. Say that again. I can think all the right things, but if I hang around people that don't think like me, I couldn't keep trying to make that make sense. But I ain't like them.
So what decision did you make? Through mental
I had to
health,
just-
through your counseling, did it help you make a decision?
I had to let that lifestyle go. I loved it. I loved when I say the streets, I'm not saying doing bad
know,
things in
I
the street.
understand.
It's the environment.
environment.
The brotherhood.
Well, what
Just
do you love the life you lead now?
Because I get a chance to work with the same group of people, men and women getting out of jail or prison. But their idea is, I'm trying to get away from that environment too. So we sit in a room, we talk about what can we do different. We love the streets. We came from this lifestyle. It's challenging. Give me some ideas that what I can do to create a new life.
And you've done a great job with that. We got 2 minutes. So Cameron, tell me what your mental health struggle was. Try to tell us what the mental health struggle was and how you have overcome it and you're still trying to overcome it.
My mental health is, you know, I have dreams and nightmares over, you know, the being shot. You know, I wake up out of my sleep, you know, at 4 or 5 in the morning, and you know, I might want to go outside or something. But the mental health, it's been a struggle, but I know that that I have a lot of people who are dependent on me, you know, to set things to aside, you know, just how I'm trying to say.
Well, just to walk straight and to work all day, and you don't have to have that big wad of money you might get from the street. You can make less money, but you're free.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You can make it different, and you're learning something. You're still a young man. You're learning more. Cars are going to always be here.
Right.
So I'm proud of you for picking a profession where people need mechanics. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's something you enjoy. It's something you like. You can, so.
Yeah. So I really, yeah, but
And people always need barbers.
always, forever. So I just really continue to go, like, take it one day at a time.
Did the mental health therapy help you with anger issues?
Oh, yes, it
Because you
did.
used to have anger issues.
It helps me all around the board, you know, just by going to talk to your doctor and do the things that they tell you to do. It'll help you if you really listen to them, you know. So I continue to go to my doctors.
And a lot of big bad dudes in the street won't go get help or admit it. What made you do it and admit it?
Because a lot of people feel like they don't need help, like they got it going on, like they just this unstoppable. And I see this every day. People feel like this, like they can't be stopped. But once you've been stopped, and not that you met your match, but you've been stopped and you've been through things and you've really going through things in life, it's gonna change you. It's gonna make you sit down. It's gonna make you don't have to go to prison to become a better man. You know, you can do it right here in this world.
Right.
You just have to apply yourself. You can't blame other people and sit up there and say, oh, it's your fault that this happened and it's your fault. No, you have to take action. Not saying to play God's hand, you know, you don't have to play God's hand, but you have to be that one to just get up and get things done.
Well, listen, this has been a wonderful 1 hour discussion about Cameron Coker, who was falsely accused of killing another young man on First 48 that showed forever. Eventually, the law schools stopped A&E from showing that. You can't see it now. It was season 9, episode 7. It was called Straight Menace. They called him a menace to society for a crime he did not commit. Danny, thank you for always being my co-host and giving us your words of wisdom. Cameron, thank you for getting off work at 5 o'clock and running over here to the studio to tell your story. I was so proud of you for saying that, being a responsible young man. So thank you for telling your story. Thank you for watching Truth and Justice. I hope we've helped somebody with this story. That's what we want to do, educate you about the criminal justice system through people's true crime stories. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you. Subscribe to YouTube. Thank you.